Admiral Lee Hyun pressed his palms against the cold metal of the observation deck, watching the last human transport ship struggle through space toward the growing energy barrier. His reflection stared back from the reinforced glass, showing a man who had aged 10 years in the past month. Behind him, the bridge crew worked in tense silence, their faces grim as they monitored the final evacuation. "Sir, the civilian ship New Hope is reporting engine problems," Captain Park Jin announced from his station. "They're falling behind." Hyun turned sharply. "Send 2 escorts. Get them through that barrier before it's too late." The energy barrier stretched across space like a massive wall of light, crackling with alien technology that humanity barely understood. Beyond it lay freedom, the vast galaxy where humans had built colonies and explored new worlds. Behind it would be their prison. "Admiral, incoming transmission from the Galactic Council ship," Communications Officer Kim Sora said, her voice steady despite the fear in her eyes. "Put it through." The main screen flickered to life, showing the tall, crystalline form of Ambassador Thelnak. The alien's voice echoed through the bridge like broken glass. "Admiral Hyun, you have 30 minutes to complete your withdrawal. Any human vessel remaining outside the barrier after that time will be destroyed." "Understood," Hyun replied, his voice cold as space itself. "But know this, Ambassador. You're making a mistake." The alien's fasted head tilted slightly. "Humanity has proven too dangerous, too unpredictable. Your species starts conflicts wherever you go. The galaxy will be peaceful without you." The transmission ended, leaving the bridge in heavy silence. Lieutenant Choi Min-suk, barely 25 and fresh from the academy, spoke up hesitantly. "Sir, what about the colonies? The families still out there?" Hyun's jaw tightened. 3 million humans lived in the outer colonies, too far away to evacuate in time. The council had given them a choice: abandon their people or watch them die. It was no choice at all. "We'll find a way to get them back," he said quietly. "All of them." DQI, hours that followed felt like a nightmare. Ship after ship passed through the barrier, each one carrying refugees who had lost everything. The Harmony limped through with hull damage from a pirate attack the council had ignored. The Freedom barely made it with a full cargo hold of children. From the New Terra colony, Captain Park Jin stood beside Hyun, watching the evacuation with grim determination. "The New Hope is through, sir. That's the last of them." "What about our scouts?" Hyun asked. "Still out there, sir. They're too far to reach in time." Hyun nodded slowly. He had sent his best people to gather intelligence on council movements, knowing they might not make it back. They were heroes, and the galaxy would never know their names. As the final moments ticked away, the barrier began to shift and pulse. The alien technology was activating, preparing to seal humanity inside their solar system forever. On the screen, Hyun could see the massive council ships positioning themselves around the barrier, their weapons trained on any human vessel that might try to escape. "All ships, this is Admiral Hyun," he broadcast on all frequencies. "We are now entering voluntary exile. Remember this day. Remember why we're here. Remember that we chose to save lives rather than start a war we couldn't win." The barrier snapped into place with a sound like thunder. Suddenly, the stars beyond looked different, distorted by the energy field that now surrounded Earth's solar system. The council ships turned and departed, their job complete. Hyun stood alone on the observation deck as his crew quietly went about their duties. In the distance, Earth looked small and blue and terribly isolated. Mars glowed red nearby, while the asteroid belt sparkled with mining operations that would soon serve a very different purpose. "Admiral," Park Jin approached carefully. "Orders, sir." Hyun was quiet for a long moment, thinking about the 3 million humans abandoned beyond the barrier, about the colonies that would never see their families again, about the alien council that thought they had solved their human problem. "Send a message to all ships, all colonies, all stations," he said finally. "Tell them that exile is not the end. It's the beginning. We have time now, and we have something we've never had before." "What's that, sir?" "A common enemy," Hyun replied, his eyes fixed on the barrier that caged them. And humanity has always been at its best when we have something to fight against. As the Vengeance turned toward home, carrying the last free humans in the galaxy, none of them knew they were about to begin the greatest transformation in human history. The aliens thought they had contained the threat. Instead, they had just given humanity 50 years to prepare for war. In the depths of space, the barrier hummed with alien energy, keeping humanity locked away from the stars they had once called home. But barriers, Hyun thought grimly, were made to be broken. 50 years had passed since the Great Exile, and Dr. Kim Soo-jin wiped sweat from her forehead as she climbed out of the deep tunnels beneath New Seoul. The underground city stretched for miles in every direction, its corridors filled with the constant hum of machinery and the smell of hot metal. Above ground, Earth looked nothing like the world her grandparents had known. Another successful test, she told General Choi Min-ho as they walked through the main production facility. Around them, thousands of workers moved like ants, assembling weapons and ship parts with mechanical precision. The quantum drive is finally stable. Min-ho nodded, his weathered face showing the strain of 5 decades spent preparing for war. He had been a young lieutenant during the exile, barely older than the cadets now training on Mars. His hair was gray now, but his eyes still burned with the same anger that had sustained humanity through their darkest years. "How many ships can we power with it?" he asked. "Every ship in the fleet," Soo-jin replied proudly. "The aliens never expected us to crack their technology. They thought we were too primitive." They stopped at a massive viewing window that looked out over the construction yards. Hundreds of ships floated in various stages of completion, from small fighters to massive dreadnoughts that dwarfed anything humanity had built before the exile. Workers in spacesuits moved between them like tiny insects, welding hull plates and installing weapon systems. "My daughter started working on Hull Section 7 yesterday," Min-ho said quietly. "She's never seen the stars beyond our barrier. None of the young ones have." Soo-jin understood. An entire generation had grown up knowing only exile, raised on stories of the galaxy they had lost. These children didn't dream of peaceful exploration or trade missions. They dreamed of breaking free and reclaiming what was theirs by force. In the distance, Mars glowed red against the black sky. The planet had been transformed into humanity's greatest military base, its surface covered with training facilities and weapons testing grounds. Every day, transport ships carried new recruits to the Red Planet, where they learned to fight in zero gravity and survive in hostile environments. The Mars Academy graduated another 1,000 pilots this month, Min-ho continued. "They're good, Soo-jin. Better than we were at their age. They've been training for this their whole lives." Through the underground transport tunnels, they could hear the rumble of maglev trains carrying raw materials from the asteroid belt. The mining operations there had expanded beyond anything previously imagined, with automated systems stripping entire asteroids clean and sending the metals back to Earth's factories. "Show me the weapon tests," Min-ho said. They took an elevator deep underground to a secure testing facility. Behind thick blast doors, technicians operated the latest human innovations. Soo-jin activated a holographic display showing weapon specifications that would have seemed impossible 50 years ago. "Plasma cannons with 3 times the power output of Council weapons," she explained. "Shields that can absorb energy attacks and redirect them. And this," she pulled up another display. "Personal armor that makes our soldiers nearly invincible." On the screen, a test subject wearing the new battlesuit shrugged off hits from weapons that would have killed an unprotected human. The armor was sleek and black, making the wearer look more like a machine than a person. "The Council thinks we're still using primitive projectile weapons," Soo-jin continued. "They have no idea what we've accomplished," Min-ho smiled grimly. "Good, let them stay ignorant." They walked through more sections of the facility, past laboratories where scientists worked on new technologies and communication rooms, where intelligence officers analyzed data from their deep space probes. Humanity had not been completely cut off during their exile. Small, stealthy ships had been making secret trips beyond the barrier for decades, watching and learning. "The latest reports from our scouts are encouraging," Min-ho said as they reviewed the intelligence files. The council has grown soft. 50 years of peace have made them lazy. Their military forces are smaller than ever. What about their technology? Sujin asked. Barely advanced since the exile. They think they've achieved perfection, so they stopped innovating. Meanwhile, we've been pushing the boundaries of physics itself. In the training simulators nearby, young pilots practiced combat maneuvers against holographic alien ships. These men and women had never known defeat because they had never known anything but training for victory. Their instructors were veterans of the evacuation, people who remembered what it felt like to retreat. Lieutenant Park Yunji set a new record today, one of the trainers reported. She destroyed 15 enemy ships in the advanced scenario. Minho watched the young woman remove her helmet, her face flushed with victory. How old is she? 22. Sir? Born 3 years after the barrier went up. The general nodded slowly. These young warriors didn't carry the weight of defeat that burdened the older generation. To them, the coming war wasn't about revenge or reclaiming lost territory. It was simply what they had been born to do. As they concluded their inspection, Sujin and Minho stood once again at the viewing window, watching the endless construction of humanity's war machine. The barrier still flickered in the distance, keeping them trapped, but both knew it wouldn't hold much longer. How much time? Do we need to finish everything? Minho asked. 6 months for the final ships, maybe less if we push the crews harder. Then in 6 months we'll remind the galaxy what happens when you cage humanity. Minho's reflection in the window looked like a man ready for war. They wanted us gone because we were dangerous. They're about to learn just how dangerous we've become. Captain Yoon De-hee felt the deck vibrate beneath her feet as the massive dreadnought Vengeance powered up its quantum drives. Around her, the bridge crew worked with quiet efficiency, their faces showing no fear despite knowing they were about to attempt something that had never been done before. Through the main viewport, she could see the energy barrier that had imprisoned humanity for 50 years, crackling with alien power. Quantum tunnel generators are online, reported Lieutenant Han Jae-min from his station. All systems show green. Dae-hai nodded and activated the fleet communication system. Behind the Vengeance, 300 smaller ships waited in perfect formation. Each vessel represented years of human innovation and determination, crewed by men and women who had trained their entire lives for this moment. All ships, this is Captain Yoon, she broadcast. Today we break our chains. Today we show the galaxy that humanity will not be caged. The response came back as a chorus of acknowledgments from ship captains across the fleet. These weren't the desperate refugees who had fled 50 years ago. These were warriors, born and raised in exile, forged by necessity into something the galaxy had never seen. Begin quantum tunneling sequence, Dae-hai ordered. The Vengeance shuddered as its experimental drives engaged. The technology was based on alien designs, but improved by human engineering. Where the Council used quantum tunneling for communication across vast distances, humanity had weaponized it for travel. The energy barrier that seemed impenetrable could be bypassed entirely. Tunnel opening, Jae-min announced. We're punching through the barrier. Space twisted around them as reality bent to humanity's will. For a moment, the stars outside looked strange and distorted. Then, with a flash of light, they emerged on the other side of the barrier that had contained them for half a century. We're through, De-hee said quietly, then louder. All ships confirm status. One by one, the human fleet reported successful transitions. 300 ships had just accomplished what the Galactic Council believed was impossible. They were free. Captain detecting an alien patrol ship at bearing 270, reported Sensor Officer Kim Young-soo. Distance, 50,000 kilometers. Dae-hai studied the tactical display. The alien vessel was small, probably just a routine patrol, checking the barrier's integrity. Its crew had no idea they were about to witness the return of humanity. That ship will report our presence to the Council, she said. We can't let that happen. Prepare to engage. The Vengeance turned toward its target, its massive hull bristling with weapons that the aliens had never seen before. Plasma cannons, charged with energy, while missile tubes loaded with quantum warheads. Behind the flagship, the smaller human ships spread out in attack formation, Target acquired, announced Weapons Officer Lee Min-jung. All batteries ready to fire. Fire, Da-hai commanded. The first shot lit up space like a miniature star. The alien patrol ship's shields flared and collapsed under the assault, its hull vaporizing in seconds. There was no response, no distress signal. The engagement was over before it began. One shot, Jamin said with satisfaction. Their shields couldn't handle our plasma output. Da-hai felt a grim smile cross her face. 50 years of preparation had been worth it. Humanity's weapons were far superior to anything the Council possessed. But this was just the beginning. Set course for Kepler Station, she ordered. Time to announce our return properly. Kepler Station was a massive trading hub located at the intersection of several major space routes. It served as a meeting point for ships from across the galaxy and housed nearly 1 million aliens from dozens of different species. More importantly, it was lightly defended, making it the perfect target for humanity's first real strike. As the human fleet approached the station, Da-hai could see its sprawling structure through the viewport. Docking arms extended like the branches of a metal tree, covered with ships from across the galaxy. Cargo containers moved along transport tubes while aliens conducted their peaceful business, unaware that their safe, ordered world was about to change forever. Captain, the station is hailing us, Communications Officer Park Subin reported. They're asking for identification and purpose. Tell them we're here to collect 50 years of back rent, Da-hai replied. Weapons. Target their defense platforms. The Midana station's few weapon emplacements were designed to deal with pirates and smugglers. Not a full military assault. They opened fire with energy beams that barely scratched the Vengeance's armor while human return fire obliterated them completely. Launch boarding pods, Da-hai ordered. I want that station intact. We're going to need it as a base of operations. Hundreds of small craft launched from the human ships, carrying Marines in the new black battle armor. These soldiers had trained in the underground facilities of Earth and the harsh environments of Mars. They moved through space like deadly shadows, using personal shield generators and plasma weapons that made them nearly unstoppable. Boarding. Successful, reported Marine Commander Bae Sung-woo over the radio. Station defenses are collapsing, alien forces are surrendering. Through the viewport, Da-hai could see explosions lighting up the station's hull as human forces secured key areas. The aliens inside had never faced anything like this coordinated assault. Their peaceful society had left them unprepared for war. Captain, we're receiving surrender signals from the station commander, Subin announced. Accept their surrender, Da-hai replied, but make sure some of them escape. I want word of this to spread across the galaxy. As human Marines secured Kepler Station, Da-hai knew this was just the first note in what would become a symphony of iron and fire. The galaxy was about to learn that exile hadn't destroyed humanity. It had only made them stronger. Commander Bae Sung-woo stepped over the broken remains of an alien security door, his black armor gleaming under the station's emergency lighting. Behind him, 20 human Marines moved through the corridors of Kepler Station like deadly shadows, their plasma rifles cutting through alien defenders with terrifying efficiency. Section 7 secured, he reported into his helmet communicator. Alien resistance is minimal. The response came from Captain Yoon Da-hai, aboard the Vengeance. Understood. Commander, take the control center and prepare the station for our use. Sung-woo had trained for this moment his entire life. Born 15 years after the exile, he had grown up in the underground cities of Earth, listening to stories of the galaxy humanity had lost. Now, at 35, he was finally seeing alien worlds and alien faces, though not in the way his parents might have imagined. An alien soldier rounded the corner ahead, its crystalline body reflecting the red emergency lights. The creature raised some kind of energy weapon, but Sung-woo's plasma rifle fired first. The alien simply vanished in a flash of superheated particles. Too slow, muttered Marine Lee Hae-jin, checking her weapon's power levels. These council forces are nothing like our training scenarios. She was right. The aliens they faced moved sluggishly and seemed confused by human tactics. 50 years of peace had made them soft, while 50 years of preparation had made humanity into something terrifying. The control center doors ahead were sealed with alien security systems, but Marine Park Do-hyun stepped forward with a small device that looked like a metal spider. The machine attached itself to the door controls and began working, its advanced circuits easily cracking the alien codes. Door open in 3 seconds, Do-hyun announced. These security systems are ancient. The doors slid apart to reveal the station's command center, a circular room filled with holographic displays and alien control stations. A dozen different species worked at various posts, their faces showing panic and confusion as human Marines poured into the room. "Nobody move," Sung-woo commanded, his voice amplified by his armor's speakers. "This station is now under human control." The alien station commander, a tall being with blue skin and 4 arms, stepped forward with shaking hands raised. "Please, we are civilians. This is a trading station, not a military facility." "You should have thought about that before your council locked us away," Sung-woo replied coldly. "Now activate your communication systems. We have a message to send." Meanwhile, across the galaxy, the news of humanity's return was spreading like wildfire. Admiral Lim Yu-jin stood on the bridge of his flagship Retribution, watching intelligence. Reports flow in from human scout ships positioned throughout council space. "The aliens are panicking," reported intelligence officer Kim So-young. 3 council worlds have already gone to maximum alert status. Yu-jin studied the tactical displays showing council military movements. After 50 years of peace, their forces were spread thin across the galaxy, designed more for patrol duties than actual combat. They had grown comfortable, believing that the greatest threat to galactic peace was safely contained behind an energy barrier. "What about their fleet strengths?" Yu-jin asked. "Pathetic," So-young replied. "Most council ships are 50 years old or older. They've barely upgraded their weapons or armor since the exile." The admiral smiled grimly. While the council had grown complacent, humanity had spent every day preparing for war. Their ships were faster, their weapons more powerful, and their soldiers better trained. The balance of power in the galaxy was about to shift dramatically. "Sir, incoming message from Captain Yoon at Kepler Station," the communications officer announced. "Put it through." Daehai's image appeared on the main screen, her face showing satisfaction despite the battle damage visible on her armor. "Admiral, the station is secured. We captured over 300 alien personnel and seized their entire communications network." "Excellent work, Captain. Any casualties?" "None, sir." The aliens folded like paper. Their weapons couldn't even scratch. "Our armor." Yu-jin nodded. The new battle suits developed by Dr. Kim Soo-jin's team were proving their worth. Human soldiers could walk through alien weapons fire without concern, while their own plasma rifles could destroy alien defenses with single shots. "What about intelligence?" Yu-jin asked. The station's databases contained complete council fleet positions and trade routes. "We now know where every major alien installation is located." This was better than Yu-jin had hoped. Kepler Station wasn't just a symbolic victory. It was a treasure trove of strategic information that would make the next phase of the campaign much easier. "Prepare the station for long-term occupation," he ordered. "We'll use it as a forward base for operations in this sector." As the transmission ended, Yu-jin turned his attention to the star charts showing council space. Red markers indicated human fleet positions while blue markers showed alien installations. The pattern was becoming clear. Humanity had caught the council completely off guard. "Admiral, we're receiving surrender requests from 12 minor council outposts," reported the communications officer. "They're offering to cooperate in exchange for protection." "Ignore them for now," Yu-jin replied. "Let fear do our work for us." The psychological warfare was working perfectly. Stories of humanity's return were spreading faster than the human fleets themselves, creating panic and confusion throughout council space. Alien commanders were abandoning their posts while civilian populations fled to the inner systems. On his personal display, Yu-jin could see reports from other human fleet commanders. Captain Park Min-soo had captured a mining facility without firing a shot. Commander Choi Yun-suk had destroyed an entire patrol squadron in less than 10 minutes. Everywhere humanity struck, the aliens crumbled. The galaxy was learning a harsh lesson. Exile hadn't weakened humanity. It had transformed them into something far more dangerous than the Council had ever imagined. The reckoning had begun, and there would be no mercy for those who had caged the human spirit. Admiral Kang. Do-hyun stood on the bridge of the massive dreadnought Redemption, watching as the final battle for Nexus Prime unfolded before him. The planet's crystal rings, which had sparkled peacefully for 1,000 years, now reflected the fire of human weapons as his fleet engaged the Galactic Council's last desperate defense. "Sir, the alien flagship is breaking apart," reported Tactical Officer Yoon Jae-sung. "Their shields couldn't handle our quantum torpedoes." Do-hyun nodded grimly. The Council's most advanced warship, a vessel they had called Invincible, was now just burning debris floating among the crystal formations. Around it, the remaining alien ships were either fleeing or broadcasting surrender signals. "How many enemy vessels remain?" he asked. 17, sir. Most are trying to escape toward the outer system." "Let them go," Do-hyun commanded. "I want survivors to tell the galaxy what happened here." Through the viewports, he could see the planet below. Nexus Prime was the heart of the Galactic Council, a world of gleaming cities and peaceful gardens where 12 alien species had ruled the galaxy for centuries. Now, human ships moved through its atmosphere, their dark hulls a stark contrast to the bright alien architecture. "Admiral, we're receiving a transmission from the planet's surface," Communications Officer Lee Mi-young announced. "It's Ambassador Velnari of the Centauri Collective." Do-hyun remembered that name from the intelligence files. Velnari had been one of the few council members who had opposed humanity's exile 50 years ago, arguing that containment was not the answer to the human problem. "Put her through," he ordered. The main screen flickered to life, showing a tall, elegant alien with silver skin and large, dark eyes. Her usually composed demeanor was cracked with fear and desperation. "Admiral Kang," she said, her voice trembling. "I am Ambassador Velnari. I wish to discuss terms for surrender." "There are no terms," Do-hyun replied coldly. "You had 50 years to think about terms. Now you face the consequences of your choices." "Please," the ambassador continued. "The Council understands we made a terrible mistake. We were wrong to exile your people. We can negotiate, find a peaceful solution." Do-hyun almost laughed. The same council that had condemned humanity to imprisonment now wanted to talk about peace. But they had made their choice long ago, and now humanity would make theirs. "You want to negotiate?" he asked. "Fine. Here are our terms. Complete surrender of all council military forces, reparations for 50 years of lost colonies and trade, and formal recognition of humanity as the dominant power in this galaxy." The alien ambassador's face went pale. "Those terms are impossible. The Council will never agree to such demands." "Then the Council will cease to exist," Do-hyun stated simply. "The choice is yours." Behind him, his officers worked efficiently, at their stations. Captain Park Soo-jin was coordinating the occupation of the planet's major cities. Commander Kim Tae-woo was securing the Council's military installations. Colonel Lee Young-ho was preparing to arrest the surviving council members. "Sir, the planetary defense grid has been completely neutralized," reported Park Soo-jin. "Our forces are landing at the capital city now." Do-hyun turned back to the alien ambassador on the screen. "You have 1 hour to convince your council to accept our terms. After that, we will impose our own solution." The transmission ended, leaving the bridge in tense silence. Around them, the human fleet maintained its positions above Nexus Prime, their weapons trained on the planet below. 50 years of exile had led to this moment, and humanity would not be denied their victory. An hour later, the response came. The surviving council members, cowering in their underground bunkers, had agreed to humanity's demands. The galaxy's oldest governing body was dissolving itself, rather than face complete annihilation. "Sir, Colonel Lee reports that all council members are in custody," Mi-young announced. "The planet is under our complete control." Do-hyun activated the fleet communication system. "All ships, this is Admiral Kang. The war is over. Humanity has reclaimed its place among the stars." The cheers that echoed through the ship were heard across the entire human fleet. 50 years of preparation, 50 years of anger, 50 years of determination had finally paid off. The galaxy that had once cast them out now belonged to them. On the planet below, human marines were already establishing order in the alien cities. The advanced technology that had once seemed so intimidating now served human purposes. The crystal towers that had housed the Council's government were being converted into human administrative centers. "What are your orders regarding the alien populations?" asked Park Soo-jin. Do-hyun considered the question carefully. "They will be treated fairly, as long as they accept human authority. We're not monsters, despite what they might think." The irony wasn't lost on him. The Council had exiled humanity because they feared human aggression, but it was the exile itself that had created the very monster they sought to avoid. 50 years of isolation had transformed humanity from explorers into conquerors. "Admiral, we're receiving surrender messages from across the galaxy," Mi-young reported. 17 major worlds have already pledged loyalty to humanity. Do-hyun smiled for the first time in months. The galaxy was vast, but humanity had time and patience. They would rebuild it according to human values, human laws, and human vision. "Send word to Earth," he commanded. "Tell them the exile is over. Tell them we've won." As the message raced across space toward humanity's home system, Do-hyun stood, looking out at the stars that had once been forbidden to his people. The galaxy had a new order now, and humanity would never be caged again. The aliens had learned the hardest lesson of all. You cannot imprison the human spirit without facing the consequences.